The wedding dress was still warm from the iron when Maria DaCosta heard her sister laughing inside the bridal suite. Not a nervous laugh. Not the soft, breathless laugh Sabine used whenever she was trying to hide her fear. This laugh was intimate, familiar, followed by a man's whisper and the unmistakable sound of a kiss. Mireia stopped outside the half-closed door, one hand clutching her mother's pearl veil. Beyond the tall windows, Valletta's limestone rooftops glowed beneath the afternoon sun. In less than 4 hours, she was supposed to marry Alaric Venn inside the cathedral overlooking the harbor. Then she heard him say, "After tonight, we won't have to hide anymore." The veil slipped from her fingers. Mireia pushed open the door. Alaric stood beside the dressing table with his jacket unbuttoned and Sabine's lipstick staining his mouth. Sabine was still wearing the pale gold dress Mireia had chosen for her maid of honor. For several seconds, nobody moved. Alaric recovered first. "Mireia, I can explain." "No," she said. Her voice sounded strangely calm. "You can wipe my sister's lipstick from your mouth, but you cannot explain it." Sabine stepped forward. "Please don't make a scene." Mireia looked at her. "A scene? You always do this," Sabine said, folding her arms. "You make everything more dramatic than it needs to be." Mireia almost laughed. She had spent 9 months designing every detail of the wedding. She had paid the deposit on the cathedral, restored their late mother's veil by hand, and postponed the opening of her architectural studio because Alaric insisted that their marriage needed her full attention. Sabine had watched her do all of it. "How long?" Mireia asked. Neither answered. She looked at Alaric. "How long have you been sleeping with her?" His face hardened, as if her pain had inconvenienced him. 6 months. The answer struck harder than any excuse could have. 6 months meant Christmas in Gozo. The family dinner where Sabine had rested her head on Mireia's shoulder and called her the best sister in the world. It meant the weekend Alaric claimed he was meeting investors in Sicily. It meant the night Mireia had sat beside Sabine's hospital bed after a minor operation while Alaric brought them both flowers. Sabine lowered her voice. "We didn't plan it. No betrayal is planned," Mireia said. "It is chosen." Alaric glanced toward the clock. "We need to handle this sensibly. The cathedral is full. 300 guests are downstairs. Reporters are waiting outside. Then go downstairs and tell them why there will be no wedding." He exhaled sharply. "That would destroy both families. You should have considered that before climbing into my sister's bed." Sabine's eyes flashed. "You think you're better than me because you were always mother's favorite." Mireia stared at her in disbelief. Their mother had been dead for 11 years, and still Sabine competed with a ghost. "This has nothing to do with mother." "It has everything to do with her," Sabine replied. "You inherited her talent, her company shares, her precious reputation. Everyone trusted Mireia. Everyone admired Mireia. For once, I wanted something you had. So, you took the man I was going to marry?" Sabine's expression faltered, but only for a moment. Alaric reached for Mireia's hand. "I care about you. I always will. But Sabine and I understand each other." Mireia looked down at his fingers. 3 weeks earlier, those hands had fastened her mother's engagement ring onto hers. She pulled away. "Then marry her." Sabine's lips parted. Alaric went still. "What? You heard me. Put on your jacket. Walk into that cathedral. Tell everyone you chose the wrong sister. Mireia, you wanted her enough to humiliate me on my wedding day. Surely you want her enough to face the consequences." The door opened behind them. Mireia expected another bridesmaid. Instead, a tall man in a charcoal suit stood in the doorway, flanked by 2 silent security officers. Raphael Vescari did not need an introduction. Everyone in Valletta knew his name, though few said it loudly. He owned shipping terminals, luxury hotels, vineyards, and half the private security companies operating between Malta and southern Italy. Politicians attended his dinners. Judges avoided meeting his eyes. Newspapers called him a businessman because the reporters who had called him anything else had lost their sources, their careers, or their courage. Mireia knew him for another reason. His foundation had hired her to restore the abandoned St. Ursino Theater, the biggest contract her new studio had ever received. Raphael's gaze moved from Alaric's stained mouth to Sabine's bare shoulder, then to the fallen veil. He understood immediately. "Mr. Vescari," Alaric said, straightening his shirt. "This is private." Raphael entered the room. "Then perhaps you should have closed the door." Alaric's face reddened. His family's development company had spent years trying to secure a partnership with Vescari Maritime. One word from Raphael could open every door Alaric wanted, or close them all. Raphael turned to Maria. "My car is downstairs. I don't need rescuing." Something almost like approval appeared in his dark eyes. "I didn't say you did." "Then why are you here?" "Because someone has tampered with the brakes on your car." The room became silent. Maria searched his face for some sign that he was making a cruel joke. Raphael Vescari did not look like a man who joked often. Alaric scoffed. "That's absurd. One of my security officers saw fluid beneath the rear axle," Raphael said. "The brake line was cut cleanly. Your driver would not have discovered it until the descent toward the harbor." Maria felt the blood leave her face. Sabine gripped the dressing table. "Who would do that?" Raphael's attention remained on Maria. "That is what I intend to discover." Alaric stepped between them. "She's my fiancé. I'll deal with it." "No," Maria said. "I am not." She removed the engagement ring and placed it on the dressing table. Alaric stared at it. "Maria, don't make a permanent decision while you're emotional." She had never seen betrayal transform into arrogance so quickly. "You made the permanent decision 6 months ago." She picked up her handbag and walked toward Raphael. He moved aside without touching her. At the door, Sabine called her name. Maria turned. For one foolish second, she hoped her sister would apologize. Instead, Sabine asked, "What are we supposed to tell everyone?" Maria looked at the woman wearing the dress she had bought for her. "The truth would be new for both of you. You should try it." She followed Raphael into the corridor. They had reached the marble staircase when music began inside the cathedral across the courtyard. The orchestra had started early. Through the arched windows, Maria could see guests turning toward the entrance, expecting a bride. Her breath caught. She pressed her palm against the wall. Raphael dismissed his security officers with a glance and waited beside her. He did not tell her to calm down. He did not say Alaric was unworthy of her or that Sabine would regret what she had done. Empty comforts would have broken her more completely. Instead, he said, "You have 2 minutes to fall apart." Maria looked at him through burning eyes. "Only 2. My enemies are downstairs, and apparently yours are upstairs. I would prefer not to keep either group waiting." A laugh escaped her before she could stop it. It turned into a sob. Raphael stood silently while she covered her mouth and cried for the wedding, for her sister, and for the version of her future that had died behind that bridal suite door. After 2 minutes, he offered her a folded handkerchief. It was marked with a small black V. "You time me?" she asked. 3 minutes and 14 seconds. That was generous. "I'm trying to improve my reputation." She wiped her eyes. "You said my brakes were cut." "Yes." "Why were you men examining my car?" "They weren't. They were examining mine. Yours was parked beside it." It sounded reasonable, but something in his expression remained guarded. Before she could challenge him, footsteps thundered down the corridor. Alaric appeared at the top of the staircase. "Mireia, wait." She stiffened. He descended quickly, Sabine behind him. "We can postpone the ceremony," he said. "We can resolve this privately." "There is nothing to resolve. You're upset." "She appears remarkably clear to me," Raphael said. Alaric ignored him. "Think about the business merger. Think about your father. He has already signed the preliminary transfer." Mireia frowned. "What transfer?" Alaric stopped. Sabine looked away. Raphael's face became very still. Alaric forced a smile. "This isn't the place." "What transfer?" Mireia repeated. "Mireia," Raphael said quietly. "Come downstairs with me." "No." I want him to answer. Alaric's confidence cracked. "Your father agreed to combine DaCosta Heritage with Venn Developments after the marriage. Her mother's company. The small preservation firm Mireia had rebuilt after years of debt. The company Alaric had repeatedly promised would remain hers. You told me the merger papers were only to create a joint holding company. They are. Who controls it?" He said nothing. That silence told her everything. Sabine spoke quickly. Alaric can save the company. You've been losing money for years. Because I refuse to demolish protected buildings for luxury apartments. Principals don't pay creditors. Maria turned to Alaric. Was the wedding ever about me? His jaw tightened. Don't be childish. Of course I cared about you. But marriage is also an alliance. And Sabine. He glanced at her sister. Sabine is the woman I love. The words landed softly. That made them worse. Raphael moved one step closer to Maria, not shielding her, but reminding everyone that she was no longer standing alone. Alaric noticed. So that is why you're here, he said bitterly. You've been waiting for this. Raphael's gaze sharpened. Be careful. Everyone knows you wanted a Costa heritage. You couldn't buy it, so now you'll take advantage of her. Maria turned toward Raphael. Is that true? He met her eyes. I made your father an offer 3 years ago. He refused. Why? Because beneath one of your restoration sites is a network of wartime tunnels that connects the old customs house to the harbor. Maria stared at him. What does that have to do with my company? More than you know. A security officer appeared at the bottom of the staircase. Sir, the police have arrived. Raphael nodded, then looked at Maria. The cut-break line was not meant to frighten you. Whoever did it expected you to die before reaching the cathedral. Sabine covered her mouth. Alaric's expression shifted too quickly. Shock, calculation, fear. Raphael saw it. So did Maria. You know something? She said. Alaric stepped back. I don't. You do. Think carefully before accusing me. I'm not accusing you. I'm watching you. For the first time in 7 years, Maria saw the man behind Alaric's polished manners. He was not ashamed of betraying her. He was frightened of something else. Raphael held out his hand. Come with me. Where? Somewhere secure. I will not disappear while they tell everyone I had a breakdown. Then don't disappear. His gaze shifted toward the cathedral doors. Walk in. Maria thought she had misheard him. What? 300 people came to see you make a declaration. Give them one. The cathedral fell silent when Maria entered without her veil. Raphael walked beside her, his presence sending a ripple through the guests. Her father rose from the front pew. Alaric's mother went pale. Phones appeared discreetly throughout the cathedral. At the altar, the priest looked from Maria to Raphael. Is everything all right? No, Maria said. Her voice echoed beneath the painted dome. She turned to face the guests. I apologize to everyone who came to celebrate my wedding. There will be no wedding today. My fiancé has chosen to continue his future with my sister. A gasp moved through the cathedral. Her father stumbled into the aisle. Mireya, stop this. She looked toward him. Did you agree to transfer control of mother's company to Alaric after the marriage? His silence answered her. A camera flashed. Alaric entered through the doors. This is a private family matter. Mireya held up her bare left hand. It became public when you invited 300 witnesses. Then Raphael did something nobody expected. He walked past her, faced the altar, and spoke to the priest. Can a marriage license be amended before a ceremony? Even Mireya forgot to breathe. The priest blinked. Under certain circumstances, but Raphael turned back to her. He lowered himself onto one knee. Every whisper died. From inside his jacket, he removed a black velvet box. Maria de Costa, he said, as calmly as if he were discussing a contract. Marry me. Her father gripped the pew. Sabine appeared in the doorway, frozen beside Alaric. Maria stared at the most feared man in Valletta, kneeling where her faithless fiancé should have stood. You cannot be serious. I have never been more serious. We barely know each other. We have worked together for 8 months. I know you refuse bribes, terrify dishonest contractors, drink coffee only after it has become cold, and risk your own money to protect buildings everyone else wants to destroy. That is not enough reason to marry someone. No, Raphael said, but it is enough reason to trust you. She lowered her voice. Why are you doing this? Because the agreement your father signed becomes valid only upon your marriage to Alaric. If you marry another man first, it dies. Her eyes widened. And because he continued, the people who cut your brakes believe you possess something they need. As my wife, you would receive my name, my protection, and enough time to discover what that something is. It was madness. Marriage to Raphael Vescari would place her at the center of a world she had spent her life avoiding. But behind her stood Alaric, who had used her love to steal her company. Beside him stood the sister who had helped him. Somewhere outside waited a person willing to murder her. Mireia looked into Raphael's face. How long would this marriage last? 1 year. You keep control of your company. I make no claim on your property. We live separately unless security requires otherwise. At the end of the year, you leave with your freedom and DaCosta heritage intact. And what do you get? Access to the tunnels beneath St. Ursino Theater. So Alaric was right. You want my company? No. I want what is moving through the harbor beneath it. What is moving? Weapons. The answer chilled her. Raphael raised the ring slightly. Your mother discovered the route before she died. Someone believes she left proof with you. Mireia's knees weakened. Her mother had died after her car plunged from a coastal road. The police had called it an accident. Are you saying my mother was murdered? I'm saying you deserve enough time to find out. The cathedral remained silent around them. Mireia looked at Alaric. He would not meet her eyes. That decided it. She faced Raphael again. No lies, she said. No control over my company. No treating me like property because I carry your name. Agreed. If I tell you to leave my room, you leave. Immediately. If you hurt my sister or Alaric without lawful reason, they will answer for what they have done through evidence, not revenge. And if I discover you had anything to do with my mother's death, I will destroy you. A faint, dangerous smile touched his mouth. That is the first thing you have said today that sounds like a wedding vow. Mireia took the ring. I will marry you. 2 hours later, she left the cathedral as Mireia Vescari. The ceremony was brief, legal, and witnessed by hundreds of people too stunned to applaud until Raphael offered her his arm. Then the cathedral erupted. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Raphael did not pull Mireia against him or perform affection for the cameras. He stood beside her while she made her own statement. My former engagement has ended, she said. DaCosta heritage remains under my control. Any documents suggesting otherwise will be challenged immediately. What about your marriage to Mr. Vescari? A reporter called. Mireia glanced at her new husband. That, she said, is an unexpected development. For the first time, Raphael laughed. It transformed his entire face. Then a bullet struck the cathedral's stone column inches from Mireia's head. Raphael moved before the sound finished echoing. He pulled her down, covered her with his body, and shouted orders. His security team surrounded them as guests screamed and scattered. The shooter escaped across the rooftops. By sunset, Mireia was inside Raphael's cliffside estate beneath armed guard. She stood in a bedroom larger than her apartment, still wearing her wedding gown. The pearl buttons were stained with dust from the cathedral steps. Raphael entered carrying a first aid kit. You're bleeding. She looked at the scrape on her palm. I think I'll survive. He sat on the edge of a chair and opened the kit. When she did not move, he looked up. May I? It was such a small question, yet it mattered. She placed her hand in his. His fingers were steady as he cleaned the wound. Did you know someone would shoot at us? She asked. No. Would you have proposed if you had? Yes. That is not romantic. It was not meant to be romantic. Mireia studied him. Why did you really choose me? I told you. You told me what the marriage gives you. You did not tell me why you risked your life. His hand paused. Your mother saved mine. Mireia forgot the pain in her palm. Raphael closed the first aid kit. 20 years ago, I was 17 and foolish. My father used the customs tunnels to move contraband. I wanted to prove myself, so I followed one of his crews. A section collapsed. Your mother was surveying the theater foundations and heard me beneath the floor. She found you. She dug through stone with 2 workers for 4 hours. My father wanted the incident buried. Your mother forced him to pay compensation to the injured men and threatened to expose the tunnels. Mireia sat opposite him. Why didn't she tell me? She tried to keep you outside our world. And you? I spent years trying to become powerful enough to destroy the trafficking network my father helped create. Mireia searched his eyes. You inherited his organization. I did. So you're innocent now? No. The directness of the answer unsettled her more than a denial would have. I have done things I cannot make respectable by funding hospitals or restoring theaters, Raphael said. But I drew lines my father never respected. No narcotics. No trafficking of people. No weapons sold to militias. The men using those tunnels have crossed all three. Who leads them? I don't know. You suspect Alaric. I suspect his company provides construction vehicles that enter the harbor without inspection. And my father? Raphael looked away. Her stomach tightened. Tell me, your father has gambling debts. Large ones. Maria stood and crossed to the window. Below, waves broke against black rocks. All her life, her father had spoken about responsibility while quietly selling pieces of her mother's legacy. He had encouraged the marriage, pressured her to trust Alaric, signed away her company. How much does he owe? 11 million euros. She turned sharply. That is impossible. I wish it were. Maria remembered the unopened letters on his desk, the sudden sale of their Gozo property, and the panic he disguised as impatience whenever she questioned the wedding documents. Did he cut my brakes? No evidence suggests that. But he knows who did. Possibly. She wrapped her arms around herself. Raphael rose, but did not approach. I will arrange another room for myself, he said. My security chief, Odelia Marr, will remain outside yours. She is the only person in this house authorized to enter without my permission if she believes you are in danger. You trust her? With my life. Do you trust me? Raphael considered the question. With something more difficult. What? The chance to prove I am not my father. Over the next 3 weeks, Mireia discovered that marriage to Raphael was nothing like she expected. He did not demand her schedule. He asked for it so security could plan around her. He did not forbid her from returning to work. He turned the neighboring office into a secure design studio and brought her employees there until the police cleared their building. Every morning, a fresh cup of coffee appeared beside her drawings. Every afternoon, she found it cold and untouched. On the 4th day, Raphael replaced it with iced coffee. You could remind me to drink it, she said. You dislike being reminded. How do you know? You glare at clocks. She smiled despite herself. He noticed everything, yet volunteered almost nothing about himself. Mireia learned from Odelia that Raphael slept only 4 hours a night, that he personally paid the university fees of every child whose parent had died working for his companies, that he never sat with his back to a door, that he had not entered his father's old wing of the estate in 12 years. She also learned that he could become terrifying without raising his voice. When one of his captains suggested using Alaric's mother to force information from him, Raphael dismissed the man from every vestry business before dessert. Families are not currency, he said. The word stayed with Mireia. Her own family had treated her like exactly that. Sabine called repeatedly. Mireia ignored her until the 23rd message. Please meet me. Alaric is not who I thought he was. Mireia showed Raphael. It could be a trap, he said. It could also be my sister asking for help. The sister who slept with your fiancé. Yes, that one. You still care what happens to her? Mireia looked at him. Betrayal does not erase blood. It only changes what trust costs. Something shifted in his expression. I'll arrange the meeting. No, she asked for me. And you are my wife. Contractually. Bullets do not respect contractual distinctions. They compromised. Mireia met Sabine in the public courtyard of the National Library. Odelia sat nearby dressed as a tourist, while Raphael watched from an upper gallery. Sabine arrived wearing sunglasses and a scarf despite the heat. A bruise darkened her wrist. Mireia's anger did not vanish, but it moved aside. Did Alaric do that? Sabine pulled down her sleeve. He grabbed me. Why? Because I found this. She slid a small brass key across the table. The number 314 was engraved into it. He has a locker at the old ferry terminal, Sabine whispered. I heard him arguing with someone. They said the shot at the cathedral was supposed to solve everything. Mireia's blood turned cold. Who was he speaking to? I don't know. He called the person director. Why are you telling me? Sabine removed her glasses. Her eyes were swollen. Because he never loved me. Maria said nothing. Sabine's voice cracked. You knew that already, didn't you? I knew he could not love you properly if he was willing to use me. I thought he chose me because I was finally better at something. This was never competition. It was to me. Maria wanted to reach across the table. Instead, she kept her hands in her lap. You could have told me before the wedding. I was afraid you would forgive him. You did not give me the choice. Sabine nodded, tears sliding down her face. I'm sorry. It was not enough. But it was the first honest thing Sabine had given her. A man in a courier uniform entered the courtyard. Raphael straightened above them. The courier reached beneath his jacket. Odelia overturned the table as gunfire shattered the library windows. Raphael vaulted the gallery railing onto the staircase, firing once toward the attacker. The courier fled through the eastern arch. Sabine screamed. Mireille saw blood on her sister's dress. Sabine, it isn't mine. Odelia lay behind the stone bench, one hand pressed to her side. Mireille crawled to her and tore a strip from Sabine's scarf. Stay with me. Pressure on the wound. Odelia gasped. Mireille pressed hard while Raphael's men secured the courtyard. Raphael returned, his face cold with fury. The shooter? Gone, he said. He saw Odelia and dropped beside her. For one exposed second, fear stripped every layer of power from his face. Odelia, I've had worse, she whispered. No, you haven't. Then this will make an excellent story. If you have followed Mireille from the cathedral betrayal to this blood-stained courtyard, subscribe now, because the key in her hand was about to reveal that the enemy was closer to her than even Raphael had imagined. Locker 314 contained no weapons. It held Mireille's mother's leather portfolio. Inside were survey maps of the tunnels, photographs of shipping containers, and handwritten payment records stretching back more than 20 years. The final page contained 4 initials. AV, LV, ED, RV, Alaric Venn, Lysander Venn, his father, Esteban da Costa, Mireille's father, and Raphael Vescari. Mireille stared at the last initials. Raphael stood across from her inside the terminal's abandoned office. You said you were trying to stop this network. I am. Your name is in her ledger. Yes. What? He did not answer immediately. Mireille's anger rose. No lies. That was my first condition. I transported shipments for them when I was 22. The room seemed to contract around her. What kind of shipments? The first contained stolen antiquities. The second contained rifles. You knew. Not before they arrived. I knew afterward. And did you stop? Not immediately. The truth was ugly, and he did not soften it. My father threatened Odelia and her younger brothers. I obeyed him for 18 months while I gathered evidence. Before I could deliver it, your mother discovered the route. She arranged to meet me. She was going to expose you. She was going to help me. Mireille held up the ledger. Then why did she write your name? Because she did not trust promises. She trusted proof. What happened the night she died? Raphael's silence became an answer. You were there, Mireille whispered. I arrived after her car went over the cliff. You knew her death was not an accident. Yes, and you allowed me to believe it was for 11 years. I was trying to identify who ordered it. You were protecting yourself. I was protecting you. No, you were protecting yourself. The words cut through him. Mireille placed the ledger on the desk. You married me because you needed this. I married you to keep you alive. You could have told me everything and watched you walk into a police station carrying evidence bought by half the officers in the Harbor Division. That was my risk to choose. Yes. His agreement stopped her. Raphael's voice lowered. I told myself secrecy kept you safe. In truth, I was afraid that if you knew what I had been, you would look at me exactly as you're looking at me now. How am I looking at you? Like my father's son. Mireille removed her wedding ring. Pain moved across his face, quickly hidden. The agreement promised me freedom, she said. I'm taking it. Raphael did not stop her. That hurt most of all. Mireille moved into a secure apartment above her studio. Odelia survived surgery and insisted on returning to work before her doctors allowed it. Sabine entered protective custody after giving evidence against Alaric. Raphael sent no messages except daily security reports. No apologies. No pressure. No cold coffee. For 12 days, Mireya told herself she felt relieved. On the 13th, her father came to see her. Esteban da Costa looked 20 years older than he had at the cathedral. "I need your help," he said. "You signed away Mother's company. I thought the marriage would protect you. You thought it would pay your debts." He lowered his head. Mireya placed her mother's ledger on the desk between them. Her father's face collapsed. "You found it. You knew she was investigating the tunnels." "Yes." "Did you help kill her?" "No." His answer came with such horror that she believed it. "But I gave Lysander Van her location that night. He said he only wanted the evidence." Mireya's eyes filled. "You betrayed her. I was in debt. I thought I could replace the money before she learned what I had done. You always think consequences can be replaced." He wept then, but Mireya felt strangely empty. "Who was the director?" she asked. Esteban looked toward the window. Raphael's aunt, Marcella Vescari. The revelation rearranged everything. Marcella had managed the Vescari companies while Raphael was young. She chaired charitable boards, advised ministers, and publicly supported the restoration of St. Ursino Theater. She also controlled the Old Harbor Network. She ordered Mother's death? Esteban nodded. Lysander arranged it. Why did Alaric have the portfolio? He found it hidden inside the theater during an inspection. He planned to trade it for control of your company and protection from Marcella. And the attempt on my life? Alaric cut the brakes. Marcella sent the shooters. Mireya pressed both hands against the desk. Her fiancé had planned to kill her, marry her sister, and inherit control through the documents her father had signed. Sabine had not stolen a prize. She had walked into a trap. Why are you telling me now? Her father lifted his eyes. Because Marcella is meeting Lysander tonight inside the tunnels. They are moving the final shipment before Raphael closes the harbor. How do you know? I'm supposed to bring them the ledger. Mireya understood. You told them I have it. I told them I could get it. Rage burned through her. Then she saw the fear beneath his shame. For once, her father was offering her the truth before it could benefit him. What happens if you arrive without it? They kill me. Mireya picked up her phone. Raphael answered on the first ring. Are you safe? Not hello. Not I miss you. Are you safe? I know who the director is, she said. Silence. Then, where are you? My studio. My father is here. Do not move. Raphael. I know it is Marcella. Mireya closed her eyes. Of course you do. I confirmed it this morning. Then trust me with the plan. His hesitation lasted only a second. Tell me. That night, Esteban entered the St. Ursino tunnels carrying the ledger. Mireya walked beside him. A tiny transmitter was sewn into the lining of her coat. Raphael's people waited at 3 exits. Honest officers from the National Security Directorate waited at the harbor. Raphael hated every part of the plan, but he had respected her decision. The tunnels smelled of salt, oil, and ancient stone. At the final chamber, Marcella Vescari stood beside Lysander and Alaric. Armed men guarded a row of crates. Alaric stared when Mireya emerged. You should be dead. She looked at the man she had almost married. You first tried to steal my company. Then you tried to steal my life. His face twisted. You would have ruined everything. No, I only refused to let you own it. Marcella held out her hand. The ledger. Mireya gave it to her. Marcella flipped through the pages, then dropped them into a metal drum and lit a match. Flames curled around the evidence. Lysander laughed. It is finally finished. No, Mireya said. Those are copies. The chamber erupted. Raphael's team entered through the western passage as national security officers stormed the harbor entrance. Lysander reached for his weapon. Esteban struck his arm aside, and the shot tore into the ceiling. Alaric seized Mireya and dragged her toward the tunnel edge. Below them, black seawater rushed through the old drainage channel. Call them off, he shouted. Mireya drove her heel into his foot. He tightened his arm around her throat. Raphael appeared through the smoke. His pistol was raised, but he could not fire without risking Mireya. Let her go, he said. Alaric laughed desperately. You sacrifice people for this empire. Don't pretend she matters more. Raphael lowered his weapon. She does. Then step back. Raphael obeyed. Mireya saw what he was doing. He was trusting her. She reached inside her coat, pulled the brass key from her pocket, and drove it into Alaric's hand. He screamed. Maria twisted free as Raphael crossed the distance between them. He struck Alaric once and caught Maria before she fell into the channel. Behind them, Marcella aimed her weapon at Raphael. Odelia fired first. The bullet knocked the gun from Marcella's hand. Within minutes, it was over. Marcella, Lysander, and Alaric were arrested. The weapon shipment was seized. The ledger's original pages, already delivered to investigators, connected officials, shell companies, and harbor officers to the network. Esteban surrendered voluntarily. As officers led him away, he stopped before Maria. "I don't expect forgiveness." "Good," she said softly. "Because I don't have it yet." He nodded. "But tell the truth," she added. "All of it. That is the only thing you can still give, Mother." When the tunnel emptied, Maria found Raphael standing beside the burned ledger. "You knew I could free myself," she said. "I hoped you could. You lowered your weapon. I promised never to treat you like property. That includes trusting you with your own survival." She looked at the cut above his eyebrow. "I was wrong about one thing." "What?" "You're not your father's son." Raphael's voice became quiet. "I will spend the rest of my life making certain of that." Maria took the wedding ring from her pocket. His gaze dropped to it, but he did not reach for her. "Our agreement still has 11 months remaining," she said. "I will sign the annulment tomorrow." "I don't want an annulment." Hope appeared cautiously in his eyes. Maria stepped closer. "The first time you proposed, I had just lost my fiancé, my sister, my company, and almost my life. I said yes because I was cornered. I know. If we remain married, I need a different beginning." Raphael understood. He lowered himself onto one knee in the dust of the tunnel where both their family's darkest secrets had finally been exposed. This time, there was no audience, no cathedral, no bargain. "Maria da Costa," he said, "I cannot promise you an uncomplicated life. I cannot erase what I have done, but I can promise that you will never have to surrender your voice to keep my love. Will you allow me to earn a future with you?" She placed the ring in his palm. "Yes." A year later, St. Ursino Theater reopened as a public arts center. The tunnels beneath it were sealed, except for one section transformed into an exhibition honoring the workers and investigators who had exposed the harbor network. At Maria's insistence, her mother's name appeared first. Da Costa Heritage survived without the Venn merger and became one of the country's most respected restoration firms. Esteban received a prison sentence after testifying against Marcella and Lysander. Maria visited him occasionally, not because the past had been repaired, but because she had learned that boundaries and compassion could exist in the same heart. Sabine spent months rebuilding her life. Maria did not forgive her quickly. They began with short letters, then supervised meetings, then coffee in public places where neither pretended 6 months of betrayal could disappear beneath a single apology. One afternoon, Sabine brought Maria a carefully restored pearl veil. "I know you may never wear it again," she said, "but belonged to Mother. Why did should not be the final memory attached to it?" Maria accepted the box. It was not complete forgiveness, but it was a door left unlocked. Raphael changed too. He dismantled the remaining criminal operations tied to his family and submitted financial records to investigators, accepting penalties that cost him businesses, allies, and much of his influence. People said he had become weaker. Those closest to him knew better. On the first anniversary of their cathedral wedding, Raphael arranged dinner on the unfinished stage of St. Ursino Theater. Maria arrived to find 2 plates, 1 candle, and a cup of iced coffee waiting beside her chair. "You remembered," she said. "I remember everything about you." "That sounds threatening when you say it." "I'm still improving my reputation." She laughed and kissed him before the food became cold. The man she had planned to marry had loved what he could take from her. The man she married unexpectedly had learned to love what could never be owned. And Maria, who once believed betrayal had left her with nothing, discovered that losing the wrong future had given her the courage to choose her own. If Maria's journey moved you, subscribe for more emotionally powerful stories. And tell us in the comments, which moment stayed with you most? The cathedral proposal, Sabine handing over the key, Raphael lowering his weapon, or Maria asking him to propose again for the right reasons.